Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Brian and I'm a second year university student studying in Singapore. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I prepare for the MCATs, and hopefully this will be a series of videos where I take you through my weekly study routine as I prepare for the test. So my second year final exams ended a couple of days ago, and as the summer break approaches, I decided to take the leap of faith towards the MCATs. Frankly, I've been putting off this for quite some time and it was time to do something about it. So this is going to be my first attempt at the MCATs and hopefully all goes well. So here we go. I begin with making a commitment to myself by signing myself up for the exam. By doing so, I'm creating a deadline and to some extent limiting the amount of procrastination. And a couple months back, I ordered some materials on Amazon and it's arrived but I haven't really touched it yet. So now, I will have to do it since I'm scheduled for the test later this year. Instead of jumping into the books, I think having a plan goes a long way. So I'm going to do that first by creating a timeline. And as I'm recording this video on the 10th of May, the test is scheduled on the 28th of September this year. So I'm going to add what I regard as interferences that might influence my study plans, and that includes when uni begins in August. So between August and the test, I'm going to reserve this period for practicing test questions. Now this is important because the MCAT is a 7.5-hour exam, and with this time, I will address two components. Number one, the proficiency of the content, and number two, the stamina to sit there. And that leaves us with a total of 2.5 months of studying from today, which is not a lot of time. With the rough timeline done, I'm going to show you what I'll be using during my preparation. So, there are several MCAT prep books and courses available, but I'll just be self-studying with the materials I bought on Amazon. I'll be using Exam Crackers, which, from the reviews I've read, it gives concise information without having to over-elaborate on the finer details. I guess this is useful if you're tight on time. Next, I'll be using Notability on my iPad to make any handwritten notes or try practice questions, and Notion, where I'll build a personalized notebook of the summary of notes I've taken. Now, let's dive into the books. After browsing through the content, there are a total of 6 subjects: biochemistry, chemistry, physics, biology, critical reasoning, and psychology and sociology. So on average, there are about 4 to 6 chapters per subject. The idea is to take on 2 subjects at any point in time, and we're going to alternate subjects every chapter to keep things fresh. So I'm planning to cover 1 chapter of any subject per day, and if this goes well, we can finish 1 subject per week on average, fingers crossed. I'm also going to say that it's been a while since I've touched these subjects, so you can assume that I have no working knowledge of any of them. The idea is to go over very briefly every topic of every subject without going too much into detail in the first round. After I've covered all the topics, I'm going back to them again and again and again to build up the gaps that I've missed during the first couple of rounds. And hopefully by the time I start practicing test questions, I'll be very familiar with the content. Now, as I open up the first page of the first subject, I'm going to read the content without taking any notes. At this point, I'm going through the content, look at headers and subheaders, and briefly understand what the topic is about. Next, I'm going to reread it again, line for line, and while using Notion, I'm going to distill that information into simple terms that I can understand in point form. Finally, at the end of every chapter, there are some practice questions, and using Notability, I'm going to try to attempt these questions while referring to the note bank I've created on Notion. So this comes to the end of the video, and hopefully, I'll be able to produce weekly videos documenting my journey as I prepare for the MCATs. All the best to you if you are preparing for the MCAT as well, and stay safe.